Auld Lang Syne by Jack Nacon. The Excalibur Club, New Year's Eve. Maybe not the quote-unquote hottest ticket in town, but a damn good place to spend the year's end celebration with your best friends, rather than sitting alone in your apartment. Again. At least that's what Dave's best buds had insisted as they half-dragged him out his door, barely giving him time to put on pants, let alone a coat. They arrived at the club at 9 p.m., half an hour later than they would have if they hadn't had to change drivers. Ted had decided to pre-celebrate and couldn't tell a stop sign from a pizza place. The streets were crowded, and so was the parking lot at the club, which boded well, according to Alex. Jake had agreed, stating that there were plenty of potentials. Ted had laughed. "You mean availables?" He grinned. It took the other three a moment to translate that to availables, which only gave Dave more of a sinking feeling in his chest. He'd suspected for a while now that the three of them had been plotting something to do with him, and little by little the pieces were starting to click into place. The occasional questions about his type of girl, talking about hookup spots, little things that were making him extremely suspicious. The not-so-jolly green-haired giant acting as the bouncer was checking IDs at the door, but waved them in without a glance. $10 entry, guys. 2-drink minimum. He rumbled as they passed. Ted snorted and barked a laugh. 2-drink minimum. He cackled. Alex rolled his eyes. Try not to poison yourself this time. No grain alcohol? I promise nothing. He'd already been scanning the dance floor like a farmer surveying a fresh crop. Dave let them steer him to an empty table halfway between the bar and the dance floor. The bar was huge, a mix of white oak and quartz stretching from almost the main entrance to the other end of the building near the bathrooms, lined with faded red-cushioned bar seats on swivels. The table was one of many set up to give people a place to sit, have a drink, rest their aching feet, have a drink and a chat, have a meal and a drink. A little stand on each reminded you of the 2-drink minimum, along with a menu of what was on tap, what's on the shelf, and a promise of, if you can name the cocktail, we can mix it. A huge portion of the building was dedicated to the dance floor and the DJ booth, both of which were at full blast tonight, the music and the constant thunder of feet making the table vibrate softly. Off in the last portion, a pool table and dartboard were set up, along with TVs blaring the latest scores from various teams and leagues. The cigarette smoke was heaviest over there. Alex elbowed Jake and nodded back at the entrance. "You see the sign by the door? Ladies get in free tonight." They grinned and high-fived in a way that would have seemed perfectly understandable if they had both been Ted singles as hell and constantly on the prowl. Alex was married with 2 kids, and Jake was in a deeply serious relationship that Dave knew he'd rather lose an arm than screw up. Dave sighed as he leaned forward on the table, leveling a double-barrel glare at the pair. Ted was somewhere on the dance floor already, if not casually cruising up and down the bar. "Okay, I got dressed. I came out with you guys. And I even convinced that guy outside the pizza place not to punch Ted for almost running him over. Can I please know what your scheme is, or do I have to guess?" The 2 guys blinked, glanced from Dave to each other, and then Alex sighed. "It's not a scheme, just a plan. A goal, really," Jake added. "Look, Dave, you're one of our best friends." Jake nodded. "You're a great guy. Cream of the crop." "Right. We'd give you the shirt off our backs and know you'd do the same in a heartbeat." Dave nodded slowly, but made a go-on motion. "But, well, the fact that you're single and are doing zip to change it," Jake pointed out. "Yeah, that too. It's really kind of depressing, man." "No offense, of course," Jake assured him quickly. "Right, no offense." Dave was kind of feeling offense, despite those assurances. Alex went on. So we figured, what was the best way to get you to find a girl? Or at least a date. One night stand, minimum. I'm so glad you guys aren't being offensive right now, or I might really hate this. Dave rested his forehead in his hands. Jake gave him a pat on the shoulder. My friend, it's New Year's Eve. It's in one of the finest establishments that we can afford. Ladies get in free, and New Year's Eve means they're desperate. It's a perfect setting. Alex was nodding eagerly. All you have to do is, find a girl and talk to her, and there are, hundreds in here, right? Dave lifted his head up and looked slowly around. They weren't wrong, really, which was the annoying part. While there were some clear couples, there seemed to be plenty of ladies who were just kind of moving between the bar, tables, and dance floor. Well, I suppose you might have a point. Great. Now, quick pointers. The pair of them pulled a shoulder each to make a huddle. First off, Alex muttered grimly, avoid the dance floor unless you meet someone who wants to dance. Huh? Jake nodded. Girl on the floor? She either has someone she's dancing with, or she just wants to dance, and you interrupting either of those is bad. Right. Okay. If you head for a girl at the tables, make sure there are other bags there first. Means she's watching her friend's stuff while they use the bathroom or get drinks. Responsible, and it reduces the chances of hitting on, a professional, shall we say. Dave nodded again, though he wasn't sure if any of that made him more or less confident. The real decision-maker for him came in the form of Ted. He wound his way back to the table and lowered himself carefully into the chair. The look on his face should have been illegal. That's how smug it was. He had lipstick marks on his mouth and chin, and was still readjusting his clothes. Oof. His grin widened, and it was actually hard for Dave not to slap him for it. This place is great. I'm at the sweet little blonde number in the restrooms, and, well, a gentleman doesn't kiss and tell, but whoa. Alex and Jake stared at him, then looked slowly back at Dave. He's 2 sheets to the wind, Alex started. It's barely in 9:30, Jake added. And he already got laid. They both finish. Dave couldn't help it. That was the kind of evidence that scientists begged for. With a deep breath, he stood up and started toward the bar. Okay, just like the guys said. Just pick a girl and talk to her. His focus fell on a girl with dark black hair and a bright blue dress that shimmered in the lights above. He hiked up his courage, pausing only to order nachos and a beer before heading toward her. Just start out with hello, he coached himself. He leaned on the bar next to her and opened his mouth to say, Hi, how are you? I'm Dave. When a guy a head taller than him stepped up on the other side, taking a seat in one of the stools, and kissed her softly. Sorry, babe, there was a line to the bathroom. They both seemed to notice Dave at the same moment, the lady's eyebrows going up while his furrowed. Can we help you with something, bud? Dave quickly covered his mouth with a huge yawn. Oh, man, so sorry about that. Don't know where that came from. Oh, hey! He frantically waved down a passing bartender. Can I get a shot of tequila? Yeah, that's perfect. He barely noticed what bottle they motioned to, thankful to see the big guy relax slightly in the corner of his eye. He took the shot and paid $30 for it. Maybe he should have label shopped. Before downing it in one go and nodding to the couple in passing. Strike one. Strike two was when he headed to a table where 2 ladies were talking. They were dressed in club gear and didn't seem to have any guys around or near them. He began a confident stride toward them, and instantly veered off as they leaned closer, kissed each other rather warmly, and both headed for the dance floor. Second shot at the bar. Well, the lady was thinking about actually looked at him as he approached, frowned softly, and held up a hand. Dave stopped, and she shook her head slowly, making it very clear she had no interest. Dave could almost appreciate that kind of clarity. If he could just get the "Steel Right 3" out of his head. He didn't realize how close he was to the pool table area until he smelled the smoke. He was surprised to see that everyone there was a woman, though probably not anyone he should risk. There were 4 or 5 of them, some of them with bright hair colors, a few of them smoking. The nearest table had empty pitchers on it, and a fresh one was passing around the pool table, filling cups as a woman with a rather large tattoo on her neck lined up her shot. Dave was just about to slouch his way back to the table for nachos and regrets when the smoke seemed to part and one of the women emerged. She seemed to be headed for the restroom, then paused right beside him. "Well, hello there." A voice like honeyed velvet caressed his ears, and he blinked, staring at her. Something about her riveted him. Her hair was at least 3 different colors, none of them natural, yet it moved with its own silken life. Her eyes might have been gray, but something in them glowed silver, maybe lit by the heat from the smile on her black painted lips below that button nose. Bright red jewels glimmered in her earlobes. His eyes couldn't stop traveling down, tracing her neck down to the midnight black blouse and navy skirt that wrapped a body that, if it didn't boggle the mind, at least promised being worth every moment. By the time his eyes reached her expensive-looking shoes, he could feel her smile hit full force. "I take it you approve?" "Haba?" Dave managed as she laughed. "Oh, you are adorable. You stay here. I'm going to powder my nose. Then we dance." And she leaned in to kiss him on the cheek before continuing to the restrooms. Dave blinked. What just happened? He turned to look back and found Alex and Jake giving him grinning thumbs up, while Ted gaped like a landed fish, making a "how" gesture. Dave grinned back shakily. Alex made a motion like he was pointing at his watch, and motions that he and Jake would need to leave. Dave nodded, though he could really use some more advice. Ted downed a glass from the table and headed back to the dance floor, apparently inspired. Dave jumped a little as a hand landed on his shoulder. "So you take suggestions well. Amazing." She was back, and she gripped her hand. "Come on, let's dance." How many drinks had he had? His head felt fuzzy, though maybe that was just the heat of the building and the woman pulling him onto the dance floor. The music thundered, and he was sure people were dancing all around them. But all he could see was her, and he heard her voice like the room was silent. "My name's Marlene, by the way. You here all by yourself, darling?" I'm here with friends, but they had other arrangements." "That's fine. I'll happily take up the rest of your evening, sweetness." She winked, and Dave's knees did a wobbly thing. The music switched from fast to slow, and suddenly she was pressed against him. His whole body felt like it was tingling, a roar in his ears. Suddenly he realized the roar was counting down. He turned his head to follow her gaze and count down the remaining moments of the year. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. She kissed him soundly and was pretty sure his brain caught fire. When their lips parted, she smiled slyly. "You wanna get out of here? I have a room nearby." Part of Dave's brain said that this was going way too fast, that they should get to know, yes. His mouth let out before his brain could catch up. Perfect. She might not have said it that way, but it sure so sounded like it. The walk was maybe a block, 2 at most. He mostly was watching Marlene's swaying hips, so he couldn't tell for sure. But eventually they came to... Wow. He'd been expecting some no-tell motel. This was one of the fanciest hotels in town. Even had a doorman. "Good evening, Miss Marlene, good sir." "Evening, Harris." Dave scurried in after her, her shoes clicking on the bright tile of the lobby. I know it's a bit gauche, but I simply couldn't imagine driving anywhere tonight. The streets are absolutely packed. Yeah, sure. Absolutely, Dave mumbled, eyeing the place like they were going to toss him out at any second. The elevator binged and opened, letting them in. They'd barely closed before she was kissing him again. Other people might have got on or off, but frankly he didn't remember anything between floor 1 and floor 21. Marlene laughed as she led him down the hall. Oh, you are delicious. Come on, cutie, follow. She might as well put a leash on him the way he staggered after her. God, why was his head so muzzy? He felt like he downed a whole bottle of whiskey. He was barely aware of the click of the lock behind him as he entered her room. Why don't you have a seat, darling? I'm going to make myself presentable. Marlene giggled as she headed into the bathroom. Dave stumbled to the couch near the bed and sat, rubbing his face. From the bathroom he heard her call, Do you want to order room service? The number's by the phone. I don't think I could eat anything. Her face peeked around the doorframe. Are you sure? Maybe we can think of something. Her smile was so wicked he could feel his face go beet red, and she giggled as he stammered, vanishing back into the bathroom. Maybe he should get some coffee or something. Just got his boots off and wondered if he should order something just to wake up a bit when he heard her step out of the bathroom. He looked up, about to suggest that they should buck, stark, bare, naked. Not a stitch of clothing on her. Her bare skin seemed to glow in the light of the bedside lamps, her hair moving in a wind that didn't exist, and if her body clothed promised a good time, naked it guaranteed pure, undiluted pleasures his mind had only begun to dream about. I take it you like what you see? She placed a hand on one full hip and did a little wiggle that damn near burst a blood vessel in him. Yes. He finally pried a word out of his mouth, making her laugh again. Good. She crossed the room in 2 steps, gripped him by his belt, and whipped him down to the bed. How he was naked between those 2 moments was impossible to say. But now that he was there, with her standing at the foot of the bed, holy shit. Before we start, she sounded a bit apologetic, I should mention one tiny detail. He blinked at her and groaned. Oh, God, you're married, aren't you? What? No, nothing like that. Oh, sweetie, she laughed. Believe me, I'm certainly not like that. Dave relaxed a bit. After all, what could be worse? I'm a succubus. We're sorry, the Dave you have dialed is not currently in service. You're a what? A succubus. A demon. Second-ish level of hell. It's hard to tell where we belong these days. So many adjustments, management changes, and the rule book. Ugh, do not get me started. Short version, I'm a demon. I feed on men's life force through sexual activities. I'm sorry, what? I'm basically going to eat your life by having sex with you. It's really nothing personal. I mean, really, a person's gotta eat, right? You're joking. He sighed and then laughed. Ted put you up to this, right? I should have. With a sound like meat being stabbed with a fork, 2 back-curling horns slid from her forehead, sweeping back over her hair. As he stared, 2 pitch-black wings snapped out of her back to flex in the now flickering lights. Her smile looked sharper, and a serpent-like forked tongue flicked between the teeth. Dave blinked. Well, damn. I do apologize, Marlene said with a shrug, her wings and breasts moving with emotion. But look at it this way. It'll be the greatest night of your life. Also the last, but, well, What can you do?" And with a hungry growl, she pounced. The other rooms on the floor, well, the one below as well as the one below and above Marlene's, complained of loud and disturbing noises the whole rest of the night. Security knocked exactly once, and the sounds inside made them decide to not bother them until much, much later. And the sounds faded out a few hours later anyway. It was 10:15 when the first beams of sunlight pierced through the curtains of the room. They cut across the bed, and the figure splayed out there. It hit the face. No movement. Then a foot twitched. Fingers curled. A loud groan rumbled up from the chest. Hands came up to clutch a pounding head. With another loud groan, Marlene sat up. One horn was still sticking out of her head. Her wings were small enough to look vestigial. Both her feet were still hooves and tingled unpleasantly when she tried to shift them back. Ugh. The shower turned off, and after a moment, Dave's head poked around the door, hair wet as he toweled off. "Morning, gorgeous. Sleep well?" She glared at him. "How are you alive?" "I don't know, but damn, I feel great. Don't you?" Marlene groaned. "Oh, Shadows, stop talking, please." "I ordered room service. I didn't know if you wanted pancakes or waffles, so I got both." "Lords of Darkness, it hurts." "I ordered coffee, too." "How long has it been since you've been laid?" she moaned. "I've never faced that much backed-up sexual energy." "Yeah, it's been, wow, long while. I mean, like 2, 3 years? More like 5, she snarled. "Sure, could be." Dave grinned. "So, what are we up to today?" She lowered her hands and stared at him. "Dave, I have a hangover. I literally, and I do mean literally, have not had a hangover in 2,100 years. Go away. I'm in far too much pain to kill you." "So that's a no on breakfast?" "Leave." Dave shrugged and got dressed while she glared at him. He grabbed his phone and paused. "So, how about I get your number and we could..." She raised a hand and flipped him off. "Go away now." All right, that's a no. You have a good day then." He closed the door slowly, hearing her flop back onto the bed with a groan. "I can't feel my hooves." The elevator ride was calm, Dave whistling softly to himself. He got outside and pulled out his phone to call for an Uber. He had missed calls and missed texts. Alex and Jake texted, "Happy New Year, good luck," each, and Ted had texted, "Is she a dude?" Later, Alex and Jake texted, "Are you okay? Do you need an out? And if you need an escape, text me V, and we'll give you an emergency." Several texts from Ted asking if he knows how to get blood out of a t-shirt and how to tell if a nose is broken. Dave grinned and texted, "Happy New Year's, amazing night. Who's up for breakfast?" And just as he was about to close his phone, he saw a spam text. "Vast date. Find the most exotic and unusual girls in your area." He blinked, then snickered. Forgetting about the car, he tucked the phone away and started walking home, laughing his ass off as he went. The end.